Psalm 29, a psalm of David. Acknowledge the Lord, you heavenly beings. Acknowledge the Lord's majesty and power. Acknowledge the majesty of the Lord's reputation. Worship the Lord in holy attire. The Lord's shout is heard over the waters. The majestic God thunders. The Lord appears over the surging water. The Lord's shout is powerful. The Lord's shout is majestic. The Lord's shout breaks the cedars. The Lord shatters the cedars of Lebanon. He makes them skip like a calf. Lebanon and Syrian like a young ox. The Lord shouts strike with flaming fire. The Lord's shouts shake the wilderness. The Lord's shake the wilderness of Kadesh. The Lord's shouts bends the large trees and strips the leaves from the forest. Everyone in his temple says, Majestic! The Lord sits enthroned over the engulfing waters. The Lord sits enthroned as the eternal King. The Lord gives his people strength, and the Lord grants his people security. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. God is there. Okay, so a psalm of David. Here, instead of a cry out to God, it's just a psalm of praise. Just straight up praise. Acknowledge the Lord, you heavenly beings. Acknowledge the Lord, the majestic with majesty. And I'm just struggling over all the S's that were in this psalm. The Lord's majesty and power. Acknowledge the majesty of the Lord's reputation. Worship the Lord in holy attire. No cap for not yeah, it's like a hymn. Absolutely, Apokali. These psalms are like hymns, and and we don't always know what tune they are sung to, or the rhythm, and they would be much more beautiful in Hebrew, and we'd have to change them in English, and we might need to change some words around to make them more of a beautiful song to sing, but we're trying to get the meaning here. So acknowledge the Lord, you heavenly beings. So the heavenly host are going to declare the glory of God. They're going to talk about his majesty and his power and his reputation, and they are to worship in their holy attire. What do we have here in the footnote for holy attire? This is properly dressed for the occasion. Okay, so you're going to dress for the occasion. The Lord's shout is heard over the water. Majestic God thunders. The Lord appears over the surging water. Again, we have God over chaos. God over... So surging waters, the waters of the deep. It's all chaos language. It's all things that are going to be put under the footstool of God because he is over everything. The Lord shouts in power, the shout of majesty, the shouts break in the cedars of Lebanon shatter. And then we shift from the majestic shout to the nations are like calves that are skipping. They're like young oxen. They're all excited because they heard the shout of God. And he strikes with a flaming fire. He strikes the wilderness. He strikes the wilderness of Kadesh. He strikes the trees. The trees bend. The leaves are stripped. Like he's just talking about the gloriousness of when God speaks. And everyone in the temple says, Majestic! That just seems like a weird thing to shout. Glory. I'd rather shout glory than majestic. I'm sorry. Glory has a whole higher connotation than majestic. An animal running is majestic, but I wouldn't call it glory, you know? Anyway, picking on words today. I know I do that. The Lord gives his people strength. The Lord grants his people security. God is sitting on throne. We have security. Why would we not all praise him? Why would we not all shout for joy? Why would we not be doing that?